Fox 23 News is on your side at 10.
A sex offender is reportedly run over, and authorities say the person behind the wheel was his girlfriend.
Police say she did it because she walked in on him trying to sexually assault her 12-year-old niece.
As Fox 23's Maria Valvena shows us tonight, the suspect has a long criminal past, and neighbors say they're relieved he's behind bars.
The incident happened here on East Neck Road, about a mile away from where I'm standing. We spoke to neighbors tonight who described the man involved as a scary individual. Police were called to this home Saturday night. When they got there, they discovered this car crashed into a snowbank. 53-year-old Linda Courier was the one behind the wheel, and police say she ran her boyfriend, 48-year-old James Oliver, over after walking in on him attempting to sexually assault her 12-year-old niece.
It's just scary knowing something like that happened so close to home.
Lee Smith lives across the street with his 4 kids. He says neighbors have warned him to stay away from Oliver.
We just know what we heard happened, so that makes you stop and think.
Court records paint a frightening past. Oliver was arrested in 1989 for sexual abuse of a minor. A year later, he was arrested for rape. And in 2011, he was arrested for failing to comply with the Sex Offender Registration Act.
That does make us a little bit nervous, knowing that.
Oliver is being held at the State Prison Infirmary pending a court appearance. Reporting in Nobleboro, Maria Valvenas for Fox 23 News at 10.
New at 10, police are looking for the man who they say robbed the Shaws in Westbrook earlier tonight. This happened at the store on Main Street right around 6:30. Police say this man claimed he had a gun, demanded cash from a clerk at the customer service window. Then police say he ran off with some money and got into a waiting dark-colored sedan. Witnesses say that suspect is between 28, maybe 33 years old, about 5'11", up to 6'2", maybe 185 pounds. Again, take a look. Anybody with information on who that is urged to call police.
Biddeford police want your help finding this woman. Officers pulled her over for speeding this morning. They say she got out of the truck that you see in the picture, you'll see in a moment, then got back in and took off. Police say she reached 100 miles an hour on Precourt Street, then went through a red light and got right onto the turnpike. If you know who this woman is, give Biddeford police a call. Biddeford police also say they arrested the man who was caught on camera stealing artwork. Officers say Jason Karen stole $200 worth of art from the North Dam Mill. They arrested him last night, charging him with theft. Police say tips from the community helped them to find him. He is now at the Oxford County Sheriff's Office on $100 cash bail.
Governor Paul LePage says Maine's drug problem is out of hand and it's time to crack down. As Fox 23's Jared Pelletier explains, he has a plan, but there's opposition.
The gloves are off now, and the Maine people demand that we keep our children alive.
Governor LePage is looking to Democrats to back his plan aimed at locking up drug dealers and users.
For 5 consecutive years, the legislature in the state of Maine has ignored the problem.
Department of Public Safety data shows last year 1 in 12 babies were born affected by drugs. 2 years ago, the state spent more than $6 million on transporting people for methadone treatment, more than double the entire Maine DEA operating budget.
There's no amount of treatment money that you can put out there if the kids are dying. We need to get the criminals off the streets.
The plan adds 4 judges, 4 prosecutors, and 7 new enforcement agents. Right now, MDEA has 35 full-time agents covering the state. Some worry there's not enough emphasis on treatment.
I want to know that they've had a full conversation about how this is going to solve our problem.
LePage says last year we spent about $17 million on treatment and prevention.
If you're going to step up the supply end of it of enforcement, then why aren't you stepping up the treatment end?
Some also worry this will overload already crowded jails, but LePage isn't backing down.
We have law enforcement that is doing their best to fight and combat this problem, but they need resources.
This plan is part of LePage's 2-year budget proposal that still needs approval from state lawmakers. For Fox 23 News at 10, I'm Jared Pelletier.
New at 10, times are changing for students in Portland. High schoolers will spend an extra 20 minutes in class, while some younger students will start their day earlier. Right now, elementary students start at 8:55 a.m. Depending on where you live, that start time will now be between 7:45 a.m. and 8:05 a.m. The end time stays the same, 3:05. For middle school students, classes will start at 8:35 a.m. Except for King Middle School, which will start at 7:55. School will still be let out at 2:35 p.m. For high school students, their day will still start at 8 a.m. but end at 2:30 instead of 2:10, which is right now. Some parents were afraid their high school kids wouldn't be able to participate in extracurricular activities or they would get home too late to do some homework. School leaders say this plan should eliminate any of those concerns.
In my case, my daughter is a student athlete, and with the participation after school and then having to come home later, that will put more pressure later on in the night.
I think the board's action this evening mitigates a lot of those concerns. When you think about what they were reacting to, they were reacting to a start time of 8:35 and dismissal time of 3:05. Now the dismissal time is 2:30. So I don't think those same concerns will surface.
The changes will go into effect next school year. If you missed any of those times, you can go to our website. It's WGME.com.
To your forecast now, and what a view. A gorgeous sunset tonight captured on our Raymond Skycam. But now we're heading for another chilly night now that the sun has gone down. Charlie's tracking even some single digits out there. It's going to be April in 2 hours, Charlie. We're spring.
I know. It's going to actually, we're looking at a little bit of a cool down over the next 2 days, guys, and then a little bit of a warm up by late week. By Friday, I think many towns will be in the 50s to possibly even near 60 degrees. Let's take a look at what's happening right now. We had a gorgeous sunset, as we just saw from our Raymond Skycam. The sun is setting after 7 o'clock these days. Notice a little round of clouds over southern areas. That's all associated with the storm that is passing to our south. By the time you wake up tomorrow, we should have full sun. Skies will be clear. Temps will be in the 30s now. Actually, the temperatures dropped 4 degrees within the last hour in Portland. Notice Freiburg already down to 28 degrees. Berlin's in the 20s as well. So yes, it will get quite chilly tonight. Projected lows will dip into the 20s at the coastline, widespread teens inland. And yes, there will be spots in the mountains that are candidates for single numbers. Areas like Berlin, portions of Oxford County, and portions of Franklin County as well. All right, where do we go from here? Well, tomorrow expect highs in the low 40s. There's one very mild day in the forecast. That's Friday, 50s to near 60. It will feature some rain showers, though. In fact, a steadier rain appears to be in the cards for Friday night and into Saturday morning. During that period, we could see some snow in the mountains. 7 a.m. tomorrow, though, we're starting the 20s, 30s by lunchtime. I think many towns will touch 40 for a high. We'll have sunshine from beginning to end. Coming up, we'll look at tomorrow's forecast in more detail. It will be breezy again, Greg. So while we'll have the sun and temps will be about 5 to 10 degrees below normal, it's actually going to feel a little colder than that thanks to that consistent northwesterly wind. We'll look at tomorrow's forecast and the little bit of a warm-up we've been talking about as well in just a few.
Got to put it all together, though, Charlie. 60 and sunshine, light breezes.
Yeah, we just can't seem to do it this year.
No, not yet.
On the 7 day anyway. Yep.
A new warning tonight about your credit and debit cards. Hackers are finding new ways to get your information, then use it to buy things. Fox 23's Jennifer Long is on your side with how you can protect yourself.
Experts say it's hard to tell where hackers are getting Mainer's information from. It could have been during the data breach here at Staples or any of the other breaches at businesses big and small.
A new threat shows scammers are buying up Mainer's information, making duplicated cards, and then using them locally. Jane Carpenter of Maine Identity Services says this kind of threat is unique because banks won't be able to tell whether purchases are legitimate or not.
Because of that, it became much more difficult for fraudulent use of the card to be spotted and stopped before these transactions could go through.
The data was probably stolen from one of the major data breaches last year at Staples, Home Depot, Shaw's, even Otto's Pizza. When the hackers are selling the information, they now send the zip codes of where purchases were last made on that card.
You know, fraudsters are very smart, unfortunately.
John Paradise of the Maine Credit Union League says hackers have so much information. They don't often sell it all at once, and months after a breach, you're hit with the fraudulent charges when you least expect it.
A lot of times, you know, these fraudsters will wait and hold on to these numbers and this information for a considerable period of time, so you just never can predict when fraud's going to happen.
You can protect yourself by checking your bank statements, changing your passwords and PIN numbers, and by also taking advantage of free credit monitoring that is often available after data breaches. In South Portland, Jennifer Long for Fox 23 News at 10.
Well, locals know it as a dangerous road, a stretch of Route 196 in Thompson, but now plan to make that road safer with an unusual use of rumble strips. That road has been deadly at times. For example, December 2013, 2 people killed in head-on crashes. Then just 2 weeks ago, the guy went off the road, ended up in a ravine, crawled 3 miles for help. Well, last summer, Thompson officials reached out to the Maine DOT for some help on this. The proposed solution? A 3.5-mile stretch of rumble strips, but not on the sides, but right down the middle.
It's kind of that direct intervention to the driver. The driver can feel, wait a second, something's not normal, and whether they're distracted or falling asleep, it will get them back mentally behind the wheel and hopefully correct course.
Well, there are some critics out there who say those rumble strips are too loud. Officials, though, say they save lives. The Maine DOT says it's installed about 50 to 60 miles of those centerline rumble strips in Maine in recent years. And since 2006, it reports a 50% decrease in head-on crashes and a 75% drop in deaths. The rumble strips cost about $7,000 per mile. That will be paid for in this case with federal money.
The Boston Marathon bombing case will soon be in the hands of jurors. The defense rested its case today. As Fox 23's Marley Hall explains, they are trying to spare the suspect the death penalty, saying he was under the influence of his older brother.
The defense rested after it called the last 2 of its 4 witnesses Tuesday. Digital forensics expert Mark Spencer told jurors older brother Tamerlan Tsarnaev's computer revealed internet searches for radio transmitters, fireworks, and gun stores in the weeks leading up to the attack. The pressure cooker bombs that blew up at the marathon each contained explosive powder used in fireworks, nails, and a radio transmitter. Spencer said Johar's computer history showed no such searches. Instead, the younger brother mostly visited social networking sites like Facebook. FBI agent Elena Graff testified that only Tamerlan's fingerprints were found on 2 pieces of cardboard and a radio transmitter used in one of the marathon bombs. And only Tamerlan's prints appeared on a jar of nails, a caulking gun, tape, and other tools found at the family home in Cambridge. She said prints from both brothers appeared on a bomb made out of a Tupperware container that police recovered from the Watertown shootout scene. Johar Tsarnaev's lawyers are trying to save their client from a death sentence. They already concede he actively participated in the marathon bombings and other crimes. But they contend he was only following his brother's lead. They argued Tamerlan was the mastermind of the attacks. Jurors will hear closing arguments on Monday. Marley Hall, CBS News, Boston.
New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft says Aaron Hernandez told him he's innocent. Kraft testified this morning in Hernandez's murder trial. The Patriots released their former star just hours after his 2013 arrest for his alleged role in the death of Odin Lloyd. Kraft says he spoke to Hernandez after police say Lloyd died and said that Hernandez said he had nothing to do with it.
I understood there was an incident that had transpired, and I wanted to know whether he was involved.
And what did he say when you had asked him whether he was involved in this matter?
He said he was not involved, that he was innocent.
Patriots head coach Bill Belichick could also be called to testify.
Still ahead, sexual assault victims in the military fighting a new war. The battle they're taking to Capitol Hill to make sure their attackers get punished.
New video reportedly emerges showing the final moments before a German plane crashes, why authorities claim it is not real.
Plus, a suspect in custody escapes, how he got out, the crime spree he allegedly went on in the nation's capital, and the tip that led to his being recaptured.
watching Fox 23 News at 10.
Police capture an escaped prisoner who overpowered a guard and stole her gun. That suspect was taken into custody after a resident spotted the fugitive in Washington, D.C. The accused bank robber was in a hospital when he overpowered a private guard after her partner stepped out. One shot was fired as the suspect grabbed the guard's gun. He then used her as a shield to escape. After taking off from the hospital in a gown with no shoes, he broke into a car and then hid in the trunk.
And she said some person was in the back of her car and popped up as she was driving down on Backlick.
The fugitive later abandoned the car and the stolen gun, apparently, then carjacked a second vehicle before police finally caught up with him. Police say there's no indication the breakout was pre-planned. Investigators are now looking into proper procedures to see if those were followed.
French police say reports about new video surfacing showing the final moments of a Germanwings flight are wrong. However, 2 newspapers say it was found in the wreckage and argue it's real. Right now, the footage isn't public. At least at this point, it's unclear if it is in fact authentic. Meanwhile, the airline is also releasing new information about the co-pilot accused of deliberately crashing the flight into a mountainside. Andres Lubitz allegedly told his Lufthansa flight training school in 2009 that he had a previous episode of severe depression. Crews are still in the process of recovering the remains from all 150 victims.
Survivors of sexual assault in the military are taking matters into their own hands. As Fox 23's Craig Boswell shows us tonight, they are no longer waiting for their commanders or for Congress to deal with the issue. Instead, they're taking on the Department of Defense.
Jennifer Smith says she was sexually assaulted while serving in Iraq. She says her attacker was not punished and that she was harassed after reporting it to her commander.
You have to go to the root of the problem. The root of the problem are the commanders.
Smith and 3 other military women have filed suit saying the department repeatedly fails to terminate sexual harassers from the military and instead lets those biased and hostile persons control military judicial proceedings.
We can't expect the people that are so enmeshed in that culture to police themselves.
Smith also filed a complaint about sexually hostile songs printed in unofficial Air Force songbooks.
I never really realized that they were, or what an effect they had on me until something bad happened to me. And I realized I couldn't go to the people because I needed to go to because I just viewed them as pigs.
The Pentagon says there were 7,000 fewer sexual assaults last year than in 2012, and more women and men are coming forward, but also says more must be done.
It's very disheartening, to go through something like this and to get no justice, but you just kind of keep hoping.
Hope for justice for her and others after years of military service. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
An embarrassed mom rights her daughter's wrong.
What her 2 teens did to a woman at the movies and the amazing way their mom tracked down that woman to apologize.
And if you like today's weather, you'll like tomorrow's. We're tracking full sunshine, but temps will be a little bit cooler. I'll let you know when to expect a warm-up and when to expect some rain. It's in the forecast next.